Okay, here's why else stories matter at this time of the virus in our history, where we find ourselves at this particular moment. You know how these ancient stories, there's different kinds of storytelling, right? There's stories, personal stories, there's filmmaking stories. There's all sorts of storytellers, from poetry to filmmakers to graphic design to photographers to out and out storytellers like myself that are just telling stories, personal and or ancient. I'm advocating for these ancient wisdom stories. I really think that there's a lot of a secret code in there, a secret sauce, and I was talking about that the first video. But today I want to talk about one of the main reasons I forgot to mention why these ancient stories, these wisdom stories, matter. Besides from mobilizing all the beauty, truth, and wisdom in us, and awakening us to our aliveness, and mobilizing us in the hero's journey and the heroine's inner journey to stand up and be that person that we need to be, and despite the circumstances. Besides all of that, the main reason is, for me, is the perspective of there's always the two. There's the good guy, the bad guy. There's the inner rumblings and the outer dragon. There is, the king or the prince who marries the princess on the wrong side of the tracks, or the other way around. There's always, the ugly duckling, and then there's the beauty that everybody was jealous of. There's these, cute, innocent, little naive person, Red Riding Hood, walking through the forest, and there's a nasty, wolf that's rah. There's always the two. So what about the two? Well, if you're an Irish storyteller and nutter like me, just kidding, we're all a bit of a nutter, you start to understand that in our language, in the old language, old Celtic language, that these are weird times. Everybody keeps saying that to me. That's the word they're using. These are weird times. Wow, it's weird out there. Yeah, it's weird at home too, And it's weird in here. You should see what's going on in here. So weirdness is afoot. Weirdness literally means one foot in this world, one foot in the other world. Again, the two, right? They talk about the sun and the moon in stories. They talk about, and they lived happily ever after. The prince and princess become king and queen, and they walk off into the sunset. These of course are metaphors for our own inner halves coming together, or the masculine energies and the feminine energies coming together, being stitched together. And happily ever after, of course, is just code for the secret sauce of awakening. Hello, the full aliveness of that. Sun and moon, day and night, light and dark, up and down, good guy, bad guy, prince, princess, you name it, right? Top of the mountain, top of Freedom Mountain, bottom of Freedom Mountain, top of the mountain is, our Academy Awards, our money, our success, our, gold medals, and then, of course, our individual accomplishment. But also then the valley is the village, is the relationships, is the support that makes sure that happens. Nobody climbs Everest without a base camp. And so the base camp is where there's a lot of mud, and there's a lot of shenanigans, and there's a lot of beauty. There's the making of dinner, there's the making of music, there's the making of love, there's the making of humanity. People becoming a true human being means that we need to be able to do our part at the top of the hill and come down to the bottom of the hill and back up again, and da-da-da-da-da. And this is where the stories answer to. But what about the two? The two is, in my understanding, a way for us to move through stories. Stories take us across that bridge. From island A to island B, you go from contradiction. Well, you're either with me or against me. It's either good or it's bad. It's either right or it's wrong. It's either outer or inner. It's either the sun or it's the moon. What is it, for God's sakes? To coming across that bridge through stories. Stories is the vehicle about getting us across that bridge, right? Or if you want to take a boat, it's the sailboat or the motorboat or the paddle board that gets you to island B. Island B is, wow, paradox. It turns out sun and moon share the sky, the whole universe. along with thousands of other planets and gazillions of other black dark matter, which happens to be also opening the door to our unknown, our deepest mystery, as opposed to darkness that's the end, and there's death, and there's nowhere to go, and we're dying, and it's all gray, and it's ugly, and oh my God, I'm going to the basement, and this is awful. Stories remind us that, oh, at those moments, something can happen. It usually does. And that's the something that's inside of us. So outside, inside become outside and inside as you go across this bridge. So moving from contradiction to the treasure of paradox. The male and female need to occupy the same home, but how many of us do that well with growing divorce rates of 60-70% in some areas of our country, right? So you see what I'm saying? It's a way to reconcile opposites. It's a way to understand. We know it's not chicken and egg anymore. We know it's chicken and egg. Or you could say egg and chicken if you want. It's not male or female. It's not me one, me two. It's about we three. When it comes down to it, we also have to say me too. Absolutely, we have to be on that, and we are behind that. And I'm a huge proponent of us clearing up this shenanigans that goes on, because a lot of that shenanigans ends up in my office. You know, both perpetrator and perpetratee. Hard work, tough going sometimes, but we are moving to this we three, which has got nothing to do with we two. We three is just that we are all one. We're coming back to the paradox. We are male and female. We are human and animal. We have an old brain and a new brain. But how do we do both really well together with very little anxiety? So that's, to me, what story, I get so excited about stories around, because they show us how to live in two worlds simultaneously with very little anxiety, right? We know it's not particle and wave, or particle or wave, it's particle and wave. They are both simultaneously co-arising infinite phenomenon that go on every single moment. 1 minute particle, 1 minute wave. 1 minute particle, you look away, it's particle, you turn to face it, it becomes a wave. So we know it's a simultaneous co-arising. And that's where the moment is. That's where the once is now, once upon a time. Can we come back to now? Come out of our trance of future or past? Can we come to now, what Eckhart Tolle talks about? Can we just arrive with where we are as it is now? Can we awaken to both and honor the fact that we need to go up to the top of Freedom Mountain and we need a good village at the base camp in order to climb Freedom Mountain? Can we really understand that we have a mind and a body, and that the heart allows us to bring together? White at the top of the mountain, the snow, base of the mountain, dark, mud, right? Sometimes our black and white needs a little bit of red, reddening of passion, reddening of what is true for us, what is vital for us, the reddening of the sunset, the sunrise, right? You get this, right? Stories are about this reddening, about opening up ourselves, awakening us to the simultaneous co-arising of infinite phenomenon, which is this body, mind, soul system built for awakening. And that's my favorite definition of Anthony DeMello. He talked about the true definition of awakening is for us to live in two worlds simultaneously with very little or zero anxiety. Be able to live at the sun and the moon, the outer and the inner, the male and the female, the part of us that's grumpy, the part of it that's awake, the part of it that is very human, and the part of us that is absolutely like Buddha, like Jesus, like Lao Tzu, like every Zen master, like these wonderful teachers that we have amongst us. We are that, we are awake, and we are asleep at the wheel. And which one are we, MTK? I get that question all the time. And the answer is always yes. Always yes. So, right? 1 + 1 = 3. 1 + 1, we have to honor the sun and moon inside of us, the doing and the being energy. being at the base of camp, being in the kitchen, being out there on the frontier lines. We need to do both of those things, right? You get this. So I'm going to give you some meditations on how it is that you can do this as it isness. This declaration of as it is, I am awake. I need to mobilize this awakeness. I need to be landing on my feet all the way through this desperate time right now, these difficult times. This brings out the heroes and the heroines in us. So the once upon a time stories are the secret clues, the breadcrumbs of how to do that. So more to come. We're doing a live storytelling on Thursday this week, probably repeatedly because I can't do it in my home. And that's what happens when there are these challenges of plagues, of locusts, of spells, or what have you, droughts. People gather around the fire and do stories. Well, we're going to gather around your candles at home and the internet, probably Zoom. You'll get a link. If you want to sign up for the live performance, anyway, I'm going to do a story, and then we're going to jump into it, and then we're going to go from there. And I'm also going to show you how to do this as is meditation. Life as it is. Why? Because we need this right now in order for us to handle the challenges that are going on. So let me leave that with you, because you guys got this. I know you do.